Welcome to your Daily 5 for Monday, December 9th, 2024. By now, I imagine almost everybody on the planet who has any access to news whatsoever is aware that the CEO of United Healthcare was assassinated last week in New York City. And at the time of this recording, the individual has still not been caught, and we don't have a lot of facts about what exactly happened, although we have some clues based on some of the evidence that was found, and they have some pictures of him that are being circulated. So, but with anything like this, it will probably be quite a while once he's caught, assuming he's alive when he's caught and he hasn't killed himself. But it's going to be a while before we know everything. But there's a couple of aspects of the story that have been interesting to me. One is that in the immediate aftermath of the killing, there were people who were very exuberantly celebrating the death of this person, that were posting in various different places about how it's a great day when a CEO of a corrupt healthcare organization in America, where healthcare is a complete, I'll use the safest word I can, train wreck, is killed. And definitely healthcare in the United States, unless you have a lot of money, like so many things, is not great. The idea that people in this country die because they just don't have enough money, that you don't deserve to live unless you have a certain amount of wealth, is an indefensible and immoral reality. Let's just state that up front so that there's no illusions of where I'm going here. There's no reason anybody should die because they don't have enough money. Period. That's it. So let's state that. And then as far as the people celebrating the death of this CEO, I'm not saying anybody should be upset about it. There's a line for me. There's a moral and an empathetic line that exists. And for me, I just cannot get behind the idea that you would ever be happy at the death of another human being. I just cannot get across that line to the point where you're celebrating that somebody's life has ended. I'm not saying anybody should feel any sympathy. That you can withhold sympathy without celebrating death. There is a difference there, and it bothers me to see so many people who are just joyously posting that this is a great thing. The loss of life is never great. It isn't. No matter how vile or reprehensible the person is, there is nothing beneficial for human beings to delight in the death of another human being. Again, I'm not saying anybody should be crying any tears over this person, and I imagine that this is going to be a crime motivated probably by some kind of denial of healthcare or something else. I mean, if not, I'll be fascinated what the motive is, but it just, you can kind of see what road led to this. But again, I just don't think that it's a good thing for people to be delighting in the death of another human being. I just find that you are now taking a step towards the very immorality and lack of empathy that would cause these people to be vile to you in the first place. So I don't know that that's a great sign. Then again, in recent events in this country, I don't think there's a whole lot of empathy and not much regard for fellow human beings. So I can't say I'm exactly surprised by it. The thing that was surprising to me, because after it happened, I was thinking about it and I thought, wow, I can't think of another example of this happening, at least in recent memory, because it's the shocking element of this crime is not that it happened. The shocking element to me is that it doesn't happen more often, because you really don't have to look very far to find some truly just depressing and horrible stories where people have had to fight with their healthcare provider just to get basic coverage that they are absolutely entitled to. And when you start messing around with people's ability to live, or even worse, their loved ones, which is what, if I had to advance a theory, I wonder if it's going to be that the shooter is not the person who was wronged by, or at least in their mind, wronged by the company, but it's going to be somebody that they care about. But when that happens, you are going to start to hate the people who run those companies. And as we've seen in this country in the last decade or more than that, when people just get outright angry about things, the barriers to violence are just dissolving. It just becomes, okay, I'm angry about this, so I'm going to go and perform some act of violence. So it is surprising to me that this hasn't happened more often. And I wonder now what it's going to look like going forward, especially if there is a portion of some people who find that this is actually a virtuous act that will only encourage some people to do stuff like this in the future. So I don't know what's coming down the line, but like I said, the most surprising thing about this is that it doesn't happen more often. Now going forward, I guess we'll just see what happens. Later.